CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Jeff Pegues is in Washington and joins us now. And Jeff, what do we know at this hour about this possible threat?
Well, law enforcement officials tell us that they are getting intelligence which suggests that Al-Qaeda may be planning a strike here in the U.S. Now, the information has not been corroborated, but investigators here in the U.S. are reaching out to counterterrorism officials in those states and really across the country to ensure that they are aware of this information and they are trying to assess its intelligence. But a senior law enforcement official is telling us that this is a threat that they are taking seriously.
We have not heard much about or really from Al-Qaeda in years recent, perhaps in part because of the rise of the Islamic State. So what to make then of the fact that this, again, threat comes from Al-Qaeda?
Well, in a lot of ways, ISIS, of course, has changed the way these terrorist organizations attack by inspiring lone wolf type attacks. And so Al-Qaeda, in some ways, has taken a page out of ISIS's playbook. And so even though Al-Qaeda, and U.S. officials will tell you this, even though Al-Qaeda has been diminished in its capabilities since 9/11, it still has the capability of carrying out these inspired type of attacks. Now, we don't know if that's what this is. Again, investigators are still trying to assess the credibility of this threat, but Al-Qaeda still has the capability of attacking the U.S. Maybe not wide-scale attacks, large attacks like we saw in 9/11, but they still have that capability.
Just last week, the Pentagon, in fact, announced that 2 of Al-Qaeda's leaders in Afghanistan were killed in a U.S. airstrike in the Kunar province. Is it a belief perhaps this could be retaliation?
They don't know. They don't know. They're still trying to see what's real and what's not. But we are in a situation now where we're heading toward this presidential election, and it's not unusual for the volume of threats to pick up tied to certain holidays or certain dates and even an election. And so we are in an atmosphere where law enforcement has to take these threats seriously, even though it may not rise to the level of some of the other threats in terms of its credibility, but they're still trying to assess that. They have a lot going on right now as as we lead into this election. There is also this question of violence at polling places. As you know, this has been a pretty heated campaign. There have been protests, there have been fights, there have been unsubstantiated, allegations of a rigged election. And so emotions are high, and law enforcement is paying attention to social media, trying to separate fact from fiction in terms of some of the threats that they're seeing there. They're still trying to determine, especially in the social media realm, what is just talk and what is credible in terms of threats.
And again, as news warrants, I know you'll have updates for us. Jeff Pegues in Washington, we do thank you.